My name is Daniel Gurkey. I'm the founder and CEO of Leadlock.ai. Today I will be telling you about why most voice AI is fundamentally broken and it's going to stay broken and what we're building instead. So, common misconception might be it's the models. The AI isn't smart enough, but that's just not the problem. The models have gotten noticeably more intelligent over the past 2 years or so, but the architecture fundamentally hasn't changed. That's the problem. You see, you can make an AI agent sound like 1,000 different types of voices. You can make it sound like Morgan Freeman if you'd like. But if it takes 4 seconds for the AI to respond, the magic is completely gone, right? And so most voice AI agents aren't failing because the AI isn't smart. They're failing because they're built on broken architecture. They're built on a broken foundation that's inherently broken. Okay. And I call that legacy voice AI. So it's the core problem is in legacy voice AI, which you'll see in Retell.ai or Vapi or any of these big players, Bland, Synthflow, you name it, is that they are utilizing speech to text, text to speech architecture, right? Because they're the orchestration layer. Now, what we've seen very recently is that models such as Grok and Gemini are coming out with speech to speech. OpenAI already had speech to speech. It's called real-time API, but I'll get to that in a second. Stay tuned. There's a clear distinction there. But anyway, the reason why legacy voice AI doesn't work is simple. It's imagine a relay race, right? So I'm trying to go, let's say 400 yards, and every 100 yards I have to hand the baton to somebody else. Now there's another highly trained sprinter here who doesn't have to hand the baton to anybody. He can just go 400 yards nonstop. Who's going to win the race? Obviously the other guy, right? Because every time you hand the baton off, you have to slow down, make the connection, right? So there's 4 humps here. You have the first hump, speech to text, then text to AI, then AI to text, then text back to speech, right? So I say, hey, how are you? That gets transcribed as, hey, how are you? As text. That text goes into the LLM. The LLM makes a response based off of that. I'm good. How are you? That text gets sent to a text to speech layer, generally 11 labs, but it depends on what your orchestration level is or layer is. And then that gets sent finally as speech. Now, as you can see, there's 2 problems there. One I'll get to in a second, which is the telephone game, but the other one is just flat out latency, right? And this is what we're solving here at Leadlock. We're actually creating a speech to speech or using a speech to speech model. So these speech-to-speech models were trained on audio and they output audio, right? There's a clear, distinct difference. So it goes, hello, how are you doing? That gets received as audio and audio gets sent directly back out. I'm good, how are you? And so with that, we can actually make the latency close to 0. So again, legacy models struggle with this, or legacy platforms struggle with this, and it's transcription becomes a telephone game as well. So it's not only just latency as a problem, but it's the transcription. If you've ever played the telephone game, you know how it works when you're a child. You whisper something like a story, and then that person's job is to relay it to the next person and then the next person. And then you compare the last person's version of the story with the first person's version of the story, and they're generally completely different, right? Well, it's not so bad, but in legacy voice AI as it is now, however, there's still an issue there. And especially when it comes to bad transcriptions, right? For example, if the person is speaking in an accent, which I'll get to right now, this was a real world example. So I deployed a massive, super complex 30 node plus conversational flow agent in Retell AI, and was for a client that relied heavily on appointment setting And so this AI agent was calling 400 to 500 leads a day. That says 350 is 400 to 500 leads every single day, all throughout Europe, right? And all throughout the United States, right? What was noticed became a pattern is it performed better in the United States than it did in Europe. And not in terms of how many appointments got booked or things like that. I mean, literally how it performed. Why? Because people in Europe, English is their second language, unless they're in the UK. So a lot of people have accents. And so the transcription technology, taking the speech, converting into transcription, was off a lot. So like the telephone game, if it's off a lot, the output, the final, is going to be off as well, right? And that's exactly what was happening. So the AI agent wasn't failing because it wasn't smart. It was very smart. These models are incredibly smart. It was failing because its ears were broken. So if your system needs perfect English to work, it just doesn't work. That's the issue. So the fix to this, 11 Labs came out with a bilingual model, but imagine a model that could speak 30 languages and was speech to speech. That's the true fix. True multilingual speech to speech. So what if the agent could be deployed worldwide and instantly switch the conversation into the lead's native language? The accent penalty now completely goes away. The transcription guesswork is completely eliminated, and the conversation becomes natural all over again. True AI understands the world is messy, accented, and multilingual. And here at Leadlock, we're building that reality. Latency is the only metric that users actually feel. So as we can see here, here's the user trust / belief, and here's the response time in seconds. So users don't feel the prompt engineering. And in fact, with these latest models, prompt engineering isn't even that important, especially with how I'm building it, how I'm setting up Leadlock.ai technology. It's not even important, right? Not as important as it used to be. They don't feel your tool chain, right? They feel only one thing. And I'm talking about the users. Does it respond like a human? Okay. So a 4-second pause breaks the illusion, and that's pretty obvious, right? So the second killer in this is if you've actually checked on Retell AI, for example, it does have real-time speech-to-speech models, but they have to make money, right? They're the orchestration layer. And the orchestration layer, like Vapi and Retell, they're going to be going off to the side as companies like Grok, Gemini are handling the orchestration layer themselves, right? So if you go to Retell AI right now, just set up an account, whatever. It's free to set up an account. Look at the real-time OpenAI model, and you'll see what I'm talking about, how expensive it is, right? 50 cents a minute just for 4.0, not even 5.2, just for 4.0, 50 cents a minute. So at the end of the day, that translates to $30 an hour. And who is going to buy that? You're better off hiring 2 appointment setters who speak reasonably good English that can do it better than 4.0 can, right? You hire AI when you need something to be done that's high volume and you want to save some money. That's when you hire AI. If you're going to be paying this, you might as well be paying for a human. That's just flat out like common sense. Okay. So what we're doing is we're building from the ground up to fix what's actually broken. So we're building a voice agent creation platform that's designed for incredibly low latency. In fact, it's basically zero. The agency profitability is viable in terms of unit economics. And that deployment is so simple, even your grandmother can build an agent within 5 minutes, right? So we are making voice agents affordable, fast, and easy enough for agencies to resell confidently. So what it does, point blank, we deploy speech-to-speech voice agents that are multilingual to inbound numbers, right? We also do outbound calling campaigns. And we're also integrating and triggering with SMS campaigns as well. So this is specifically designed to integrate within a Go High Level environment. However, we are adding different integrations for Cal.com, Calendly, etc., etc. The beautiful thing is unlike Retell AI or any of these other ones, there's no SIP trunking involved. So if you've ever had to do SIP trunking, you know it's an absolute pain in the butt. With our system, you just put in the Twilio credentials, you click submit, and then it just connects, right? That's it. Now your number's in there, and it's ready to call. So the 5-minute grand mal test, this is our UI philosophy, right? Our philosophy is your grandmother should be able to figure it out without a tutorial. I know that's bold, but look at the iPhone. It is achievable, right? Especially in the age of AI coding assistants, how fast you can develop great and excellent software if you know what you're doing. Essentially, this means, no engineering dashboards, no like super complicated learning curves or super long learning curves. You don't have to subscribe to a school community to know how to just figure out this thing. You basically create an account, you import your number, you connect your number to an agent, and you just deploy it. That's it. The whole thing can be set up with just clicks. You don't have to type a single thing, right? Because we're building a prompt maker as well. So this is built for agencies who want to sell outcomes, not so much manage infrastructure. So as I aforementioned, with the pain here is latency kills the illusion, right? We can't ignore the elephant in the room, which is that you can design a beautiful voice, but at the end of the day, that's just gimmicky, and that's putting a Band-Aid over a bullet wound, right? You have to stop the problem at the source, and that's latency. So this latency kills the illusion, and that kills the margin. The complexity kills your team. Infrastructure headaches kill momentum, and fear of it breaking kills retention. So our solution is speech-to-speech for human-like speed, architecture built for profitability, a UI that anyone can use in minutes, agency owners, voice agency owners, business owners, the roofer down the street, he can log in and figure it out and deploy it. There's no trunking, there's no SIP trunking or API headaches or anything like that. We're taking care of all that for you. You just click. That's it. And then as feature requests come in, like I aforementioned, it has never been easier and never been quicker to scale out features than it is in today's day and age with AI coding assistants. So this is more than a tool, what we're building here. We're building a platform that's built for distribution. So we have better pricing and infrastructure. This is going to lead to more users and resellers. That means more minutes are being used. That means more revenue so we can scale. We don't block distribution. We actually are going to encourage it. If you build a business on top of our platform and spread it, we all win. Simple as that. Similar to kind of how Go High Level works. If you know how Go High Level works or you're not familiar, it's you can have one account. That's like the $90 account, $97 account. You can have the agency account, which is $297, which you can have all your sub accounts underneath, and you manage what products and solutions that they get. You manage them personally. And the more that they refer, the more affiliates they have, the more money you get. And that's pretty much what we're adjacently aiming to do as well. We believe that the more ways to make money with our platform for the end user, the better. The better and more rapidly we can revolutionize the transition from legacy voice AI to something that we do, which is speech-to-speech AI. So yeah, where the market is going, I just hinted at that. Voice to text to voice is inherently flawed. It's legacy architecture, and you cannot optimize a broken system. You have to fix the system first. So speech to speech is the inevitable future for speed and accuracy. Orchestration layers such as Retell, Vapi, whatever, bland, they add cost and delay, and the market will compress them. The winners will be simple, fast, affordable, and they will be easy to deploy. We're not building for where the market has been. We are building for where it's going.